Well, hey guys, I know it's been a minute since you've seen me, but we had Prime 2 weeks ago, and then last week I had my grandson for 2.5 days, and today, well, actually, today I'm in the process of loading up the Jeep for the camping trip. But I took a break because, as you can see, I'm just a little bit hot and bothered. And I also wanted to bring you all a video, so this is it. We're going to keep this short, sweet, and informative. The question is, has Amazon changed? Well, I'll tell you what's going on, and you make your own decisions. Let's get started. I'm not really sure where to begin. So let's start with today. Today is Sunday, the 4th of July, and my facility shut down at 11:30 a.m. So everybody who was scheduled to work could go home and enjoy a little bit of the 4th of July. And I was one of those people scheduled to work. So I was like, yes! This gave me a jump on my camping trip. I don't know why I thought I could come home from work at 7 o'clock in the evening, get everything ready, and be ready to roll by 9 o'clock the next morning. I already realized now I would have never made it. So this little surprise of getting off 6 hours early was exactly what I needed. So thank you, Amazon. Now, we all know in the past, I'm sorry about that, I'm back now. I realized that I had the central air on, and of course the unit is outside here beneath my patio. But now that it's off, it should be less noisy now. I don't know why I don't think about these things before I start the videos. I'm sorry. Now, as I was saying, we know in the past Amazon has had a reputation of being somewhat narcissistic and not really seeing the value of Amazonians. That, we were easily replaced and we're a dime a dozen and we just need to get on with it. But my honest opinion and my disclaimer for this video is, this is my opinion. I am still employed by Amazon. I could get fired tomorrow, but anything that I say in this video today, whether that happens or not, I stand by what I am about to say. So, yeah. And this is about my facility. I can't speak for other facilities. My experience with Amazon wasn't bad until the pandemic and everybody freaked out. And there was a week that Amazon wanted us to carry on like it was regular business, and it wasn't, and it was so overwhelming for everyone. I mean, just everyone. And Amazon finally just said, okay, you know what, stop. Just stop. If you're worried about the virus, or you have someone at home that's sick, or you are not in the best of health and you're worried about catching something, stay home. And especially if you're sick, just stay home. Check in every 3 or 4 days so we know, you're still employed by us, because if we don't hear from you, we're going to assume you quit. So just keep checking in and stay out as long as you need to do it. And back then, Amazon didn't ask for proof of anything. It just took everybody's word for it. I'm still not so sure I did it that way, because we ended up in really bad shape. Anybody who just needed some time off from work didn't come to work. I would say there were more people who just stayed home because they needed a break than there were people who stayed home because they were sick, or someone they loved were sick, or they were afraid, which I guess is human nature. I know if they offered something like that now, I'd take 4 days off in a heartbeat, okay? So yeah, I understand how that happened. But I give them credit for doing it, because I'm not really sure I'd have did that, you know. And things, you know, with the pandemic, things just got worse. I mean, it was really hard to find new people. And remember, all those people who kept checking in, they still had a job. So Amazon's dilemma was, how many new people do we hire? Because we have to be ready for the other people to come back. That in itself says a lot about Amazon. I know that, you know, people have issues with it, and there are times when I have issues with it. But the point is, they were always ready for the people who stayed home to come back. They were always ready to make sure they had a job to come back to. And narcissistic or not, or maybe you could just call it controlling, once you're their employee, unless you screw up, you're always going to be their employee. So the door is always open for you, unless, of course, you screw up. Working at Amazon during the pandemic really wasn't the nightmare that people make it out to be. It was bad, especially that first week. That was probably the hardest thing I ever done in my life. But once things settled down and Amazon got back in the driver's seat and said, okay, this is how we're going to do things, because they were taken by surprise too, it really wasn't that bad. Everything got relaxed. The rate dropped. It wasn't until things got better, and because people were used to being in a more relaxed state, and Amazon said, okay, it's time for us to kind of get back to business the way it was supposed to be. And that took a minute. You know, it took a minute for people to get back on board with the quality issues, and the rates and time and getting back from lunch on time. And I mean, because things had gotten very lax. Well, we're at the point now that everything, the quality is definitely back. And that's all we've talked about in stand-ups is, okay, now you all know this box, and this box need to be taped. And if you don't do it, then the taper has the right to bring it back to you and go, hey, what's the problem? We talked about this, right? So quality is coming back. Now, they still say the rate is 80 at my facility. I'm doing between a 65 and a 70. And for me, I think that's a good rate. I mean, I do my best to box the way I'm supposed to. I mean, there are times when my mind starts to wander. And let me say this. If you've never done this type of work, which I never have before, I mean, it's pretty obvious that my mind is kind of creative. You know, I created a business. I created the YouTube channel. You know, I kind of do camping my way. You know, decorating the house takes a little bit of creativity. It's not really a claim to fame, but I'm pretty good at it. So my mind likes to work. When I'm packing, my mind can't work, because if I start wandering in my thoughts, then I make a mistake, which is why it was so terrible that Amazon would not allow music at first. See, with music, when you have a mind like mine that likes to stay busy, music kind of glides through it. It keeps it happy. I don't have to think about music. The music is just there. So it doesn't take my mind off of packing. So for us not to have music before, I mean, there were so many people who broke that law and didn't care if they got fired. There was a girl who actually tried to get an accommodation from her doctor saying without music, she would be, what's the word she said? She would have anxiety attacks. I still don't know whether or not that worked, but I think I understand what she meant. It takes a certain kind of person to be able to stand there and do that for 10 hours and think of nothing but what you are doing in front of you. Which I believe is the reason why Amazon likes military people, because they have been trained to put everything out of their mind other than what they're doing and what they're told. But the rest of us are a little bit more human. And right now it appears there are more humans at Amazon than robots, okay? So they have allowed us to have music, and it has helped morale 500%. When the music is pumping, oh, Sheila boxing, okay? I'm boxing, I'm happy, I got a smile on my face, I don't even mind being at work. You take the music away, and it becomes a chore, and Sheila want to leave early, because my mind just can't stay blank that long. So, now there's music. We've had a lot of mandatory overtime. Do you know how many people have run out of their personal time and their UPT time and their vacation time because people have plans, and then all of a sudden there's mandatory overtime? And you cannot get out of mandatory overtime unless you use your time. People have run out of time just because they're still trying to have a life outside of Amazon. So at my facility, they have decided no more mandatory overtime for the month of July. It will all be voluntary overtime. And to sweeten the pot, it's all double time overtime. Now, see, this to me looks like a company that's learning some lessons. Okay? Now, this has always been a codependent relationship. Amazon and Amazonians. Only Amazon didn't realize it was dependent on us, just like we are dependent on them. It appears that they realized that they do need us as much as we need them. And so these are their solutions. Now, they may still have a hard time hiring new employees. A lot of people still don't want to come to work. And there are a lot of jobs that people don't want to go back to work to. Unfortunately, it appears that because of past behavior, Amazon is one of those places people don't want to come back to. So I guess I'm here to tell you that right now, in this moment in time, and probably for at least a year, Amazon is not a bad place to be. It's not a bad thing to be an Amazonian right now. Now, I can't speak for 2 years down the road and things get really normal again and they can just hire and fire anytime they want to. But right now, they've seen the light. And right now, we as Amazonians are benefiting from it. Prime Week, they treated us so well it wasn't even funny. They did everything but wipe our nose for us and the sweat of our brow. And they turned on the AC. But unfortunately, when you're packing, especially when you're packing priorities, when the AC is set on 70 in my house, it's cold as crap in there. Dog is shivering. When the AC is set on 70 at Amazon, depending on what your job is, it's not that cool. You have to stop working to actually feel the coolness on your skin. But you know, you can't regulate a building when you have so many different people doing so many different things. Just the fact that the AC is on, and when I stop working for a few minutes, I can feel it on my skin. Well, you know what? That's good enough, and I appreciate the effort that you took to do that. So, has it changed? Maybe because it was forced to, but it has changed. So that's, I guess, what I wanted to tell you. Oh, you remember they were giving us those free shoes? And they've been giving us free shoes for about 1.5 years. Well, now, steel-toe shoes are mandatory starting August. See, I told you. They were going to be mandatory, okay? So, basically, that's what I wanted to tell you. Amazon has, seems to have, I don't know, they're trying. That's all, they are trying, and I give them credit for that. So, yeah, I would recommend getting the job at Amazon right now while we as Amazonians are the flavor of the month, okay? Right now, we're being love bombed, and it ain't a bad thing. So, if you're going to jump on this train, do it quick because it can very easily go away in a year or two. But right now, I'm happy with Amazon because for a while I didn't like them. I loved it, but didn't like it. I'm kind of liking it again. So, let's hope I don't get fired. Now, camping. This trip, I am going to highlight what it takes for a person my age to camp and still be comfortable. Now, pretty much all my trips are like that, but I just felt like this time I really highlighted. You know, I had said I put like $500 worth of gear in my Amazon cart, and then a couple weeks later I looked at it and go, you really don't need that. You pretty much got everything you really need and want. There might be one or two things, so I chopped that list down to 2 items. And then I forgot to order them because Amazon still can't get things to you in 2 days anymore. Not yet anyway, okay? So now I have to run around town and try to find these 2 items. So I did that today, and I ended up paying twice as much as I would have paid on Amazon, but at least I found them, so I'm satisfied. So tomorrow and the next day at camp, we'll look at some things because I'm not going to lie to you. This trip almost didn't happen because I had to be honest with myself. My biggest thing was hauling all that crap down my steps. And every time I thought about that, I pushed the trip off a little bit. Now, when they picked up my grandson, my fake son-in-law came along specifically to see if I wanted any camping gear put in the truck. Man, I was so grateful for that. So he put the big heavy pieces, and we're all going to the beach this month. So we're taking my truck and their truck. And I said, if I leave these heavy pieces here off to the side, will you all still be able to get all your baby crap? That's why we got to take 2 trucks because they got way too much baby crap. And he goes, no, that's plenty of room for us. So I'm going to leave a lot of my camping gear in the truck. And I'm not going to worry about taking it out until October or whenever I quit camping for the year. Once I did that and the heavy stuff was in the truck, man, I made plans. I called that woman at 6 o'clock this morning. And I said, can I come tomorrow? She goes, Sheila, is this you? I said, yep, can I come tomorrow? She goes, what time? I said, oh, about 12, 1, 2. She goes, yeah, most of the holiday campers will be gone. I said, okay. So, yeah, I'm ready now. Because just that little small act of kindness was the difference between whether or not I really was going to get camping or whether I wasn't. So, shout out to my fake son-in-law. I love you, babe. All right, guys, this is it. Gotta go. Got some more stuff to put in, but it's all little small stuff and I'm just getting it organized. But I don't want to carry a lot of stuff. I just want to have what I need to be comfortable. And you'll see it in the next couple of days. Oh, and before I forget, I don't want anybody to think that I think of our military people as robots. But the truth of the matter is you have a higher tolerance for pain and suffering and just getting it done that most of us will never have. And for what you do, that is excellent. And I'm glad someone can do it. But what I said was basically just an analogy. It was not putting anybody down, but it was just, I mean, honestly, telling the truth, how it sort of relates to just people who need to take a bathroom break, you know, who just need to stop and go, ah. I can usually tell who's military at Amazon and who isn't. And I salute you. But man, your discipline and determination makes the rest of us work harder. You know? So I don't want to argue about this. I don't want to have to field any questions or or accusations, because I'm just not going to. I've explained it. That's it. And let's move on. Thank you. You all have a good one. Take care. Thanks for joining me, and I'll see you in the next video.